Prince Andrew was used as a term of comparison to analyze the press coverage regarding Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. TV host Claudia Liza van der Pauw, who conducted Jeremy Vine on 5 this morning, led a discussion focused on the incendiary column about Meghan penned by Jeremy Clarkson on Friday. Speaking with panelists Susan Holder and James Max, the host said, "Whatever you might not like about Harry and Meghan, I don't think it commanded this level of online. Prince Andrew was friends with not one but two sex offenders. Whatever Harry and Meghan have done, I don't think it warrants the level of anger that it garners." The TV host referred to convicted sex trafficker Maxwell and convicted sex offender Epstein. Prince Andrew distanced himself from both sex offenders on different occasions. Speaking about Epstein in his now notorious interview with BBC Newsnight in November 2019, the Duke of York said, "I met through his girlfriend back in 1999 and had known her since she was at university in the UK, and it would be, to some extent, a stretch to say that as it were we were close friends. I mean, we were friends because of other people, and I had a lot of opportunity to go to the United States, but I didn't have much time with him. I suppose I saw him once or twice a year, perhaps maybe maximum of 3 times a year, and quite often if I was in the United States and doing things and if he wasn't there, he would say, 'Well, why don't you come and use my houses?' So I said, 'That's very kind, thank you very much indeed.' But it would be a considerable stretch to say that he was a very, very close friend." In January, the Duke also denied being a close friend of Maxwell in a legal response to Virginia Giuffre, who, at the time, was suing him in the US and later reached a settlement with Andrew out of court. In his legal document, Andrew, who has consistently and firmly denied any wrongdoing, denied Ms. Giuffre's claim he was a close friend of Maxwell. In October, Maxwell said during an interview conducted from her prison cell she considers the Duke a dear friend and she cares about him, while adding she accepted this friendship could not survive my conviction. The 60-year-old was sentenced to 20 years in prison in June for procuring teenage girls for Epstein to abuse from 1994 to 2004, charges she continues to deny. During this morning's Jeremy Vine on 5, Ms. van der Pauw went on to say she believes the rhetoric and headlines that led up to the hugely controversial column against the Duchess of Sussex allowed Mr. Clarkson to feel bold enough to say something like this. Ms. Holder replied, "I think that's a very fair point, and I think by doing it has brought that into sharp focus, and I absolutely see the point that you are making and I agree with you." In their 6-part Netflix docuseries titled Harry and Meghan, the Sussexes focused much of their attention on the press coverage about them and the wave of online trolling and hate taking aim at Meghan in particular. Recalling her reaction to one of the death threats she received, the Duchess said, "You are making me scared. Right? And like that night, to be up and down in the middle of the night, looking down my hallway, like, are we safe? Are the doors locked? Is security on? Is everything? That's real. Are my babies safe?" Mr. Clarkson's latest column for The Sun, in which he wrote he loathed the Duchess of Sussex on a cellular level, has drawn widespread condemnation and criticism. Comedian John Bishop tweeted that the remarks were a blatant appeal to incite humiliation and violence on the woman. London Mayor Sadiq Khan also tweeted, "As Jeremy Clarkson should well know, words have consequences. The words in his piece are no joke, they're dangerous and inexcusable. We are in an epidemic of violence against women and girls, and men with powerful voices must do better than this." Scotland's First Minister Nicola Sturgeon, who was mentioned by Mr Clarkson in his piece, condemned the column as deeply misogynist, saying, "I think what he said about Meghan Markle was deeply misogynist and just downright awful and horrible. I have to say, taking a step back from it, my overwhelming emotion about guys like Jeremy Clarkson is pity. I mean, what is it that makes somebody so distorted by hate that they end up writing these things?" Mr Clarkson's daughter Emily also weighed in the row, saying, "I want to make it very clear that I stand against everything my dad wrote about Meghan Markle." Mr Clarkson himself took to Twitter on December 19, 3 days after his column was published, to say he was horrified by the hurt his story had caused. He tweeted, "Oh dear. I've rather put my foot in it. In a column I wrote about Meghan, I made a clumsy reference to a scene in Game of Thrones and this has gone down badly with a great many people. I'm horrified to have caused so much hurt and I shall be more careful in future."